So, good day everyone. So, for today, I am going to report about the Unit 4, which is the Learner-Centered Pedagogy, the continuation of Topic E, which is the Differentiated Teaching. The objectives. At the end of the lesson, the students are expected to know the learner-centered pedagogy, identify the examples of differentiated instructions and the pros and cons of differentiated teaching, and lastly, motivate learners to actively engage in learning through various ways. Good morning, class. Is everybody feeling good today? Glad to know. Okay, now let's begin our class. Okay, class, can anyone from the group please tell me what was the last topic that we've discussed? Very good. Now I have some questions here that you may answer based on your own understanding or idea. So the first question is, are instructions that important to follow? Yes or no? Okay. The second one, are there differentiated instructions that should be followed when it comes to differentiated teaching in order for it to be more effective? Yes or no? Good. And does differentiated learning have its pros and cons? Precisely. I am so glad that you already have an overview to our topic. So now, let's proceed. So today we are going to discuss examples of differentiated instruction and its connections towards differentiated teaching. Also, we are going to discuss the pros and cons of differentiated instructions. Can anybody from the group please tell me what differentiated instructions are? Very good. And also, teaching this way gives students a choice and flexibility in how they learn, and it helps teachers personalize learning. This method also requires instructional clarity and clearly defined goals for learning, better enabling students to meet those goals. Now, let's tackle some of the examples of differentiated instructions. So now, let's discuss the examples of differentiated instructions. So, here is as follows. First is, educators can differentiate the content that students need to achieve the standards of learning set by the district or state. Some students may be unfamiliar with the concepts in a lesson, and others may already understand the idea before the class begins. That's why educators need to be flexible in delivering the lesson, depending on where they are starting from. Students will need different activities to learn the contents effectively, because as we engage in new activities, we also catch the attention of the learner, for which will then help him or her to be encouraged in learning deeper to the topic. So the second one is grouping students by ability level and designing lessons that cover various levels of understanding. For these can help all students move forward and achieve mastery of the material. An example of differentiating content this way is by creating reading groups or any group-related activities. For instance, students could all read content about a specific topic, but each group could be reading a text at an appropriate reading level according to their needs, for each individual has different viewpoints and intelligence. The third way for educators to differentiate instructions is by making changes to how students engage with the content based on their preferred learning style, whether visual, auditory, or kinesthetic. Because every learner has their own and unique way in learning new things and ideas. Let them be free to choose what learning style they wanted to showcase, because surely it can help them in understanding the topic. Differentiating the learning process for students by learning style could be providing written material for visual learners, audiobooks, or for auditory learners, and interactive assignments for kinesthetic learners. Educators can also differentiate into how students apply their understanding in projects and assignments by offering an option to complete a test, report, or other activity. Because by using this technique, you can then determine or know if the students learned anything from the output that they have made, or is there anything that they can share about to what they've understand. For example, some students may struggle to identify a noun, while others are ready to write sentences with different types of nouns. By offering various activities, all students can engage with the material they are ready for and demonstrate mastery on the content. Options are always a great way to keep students engaged and inspire creativity. Because by knowing their comfort zone in learning, they can directly apply it in their works. Fifth and lastly is that educators can differentiate where the learning takes place to provide the optional conditions for each student. Modifying the learning environment can be as simple as allowing students to work in a different arrangement or quiet space. While this seems like a minor adjustment, it can significantly impact the student's ability to complete the task efficiently and accurately. The learning environment would cause so much impact upon a learner because it can barely affect the total performance. It is because in a learning atmosphere, there should be no noises, not totally all the noises, but the loud noises. Because if loud noises are present and other unwanted happenings would occur, then the learning would definitely can't focus. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of differentiated instruction. The benefits of differentiation in classroom are often accompanied by the drawback of an over-increasing workload. So now, let's talk about some of the pros of differentiated instructions. Pros number 1 is that research shows differentiated instruction is effective for high ability students as well as students with mild to severe disabilities. This highly implements that with the use of these different instructions, learners are able to get into hands of learning even with the use of various learning modes to specific individuals. Second is when students are given more options in how they can learn material. They take on more responsibility of their own learning. Just as to what I have said earlier, students need to be free in choosing their learning style because if they do feel comfortable to it, then basically they'll do anything and will take the eagerness in learning. Third is students appear to be more engaged in learning. And there are reportedly fewer discipline problems in classrooms where teachers provide differentiated lessons. With the use of this type of learning, students are in focus to their studies, such as to the point that they viewed it to be more fun with their own way. So that was the pro side. Now, let's talk about the con side of this instruction. Presenting its cons. First is differentiated instruction requires more work during lesson planning, and many teachers struggle to find the extra time in their schedule. The problem of this is that it can cause great overload work to teachers, even though it's effective, but the work and the hassle goes to the teachers itself. Next is the learning curve can be steep, and some schools lack professional development resources. Because not all schools are equipped with these and may cause learning in a red level. And lastly, is that critics argue that there isn't enough research to support the benefits of differentiated instructions outweighing the added prep time. The proof ain't still enough in order for it to be determined totally effective, and to some point, it is still arguable to the heavy load that it may add on to the students and teachers. So that's all for today, and I hope you have learned something from our discussion.